right. Welcome back, Ellen.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah. So always so nice to have you here. We were talking in the kitchen recently about how kind of dense we were early on with our bodies, with physical therapy and stuff. And I thought that would be just kind of a fun conversation. Let's record this and just see if it's useful for people.
Yeah. Because we were just kind of making the analogy from how we tried to kind of bushwhack our way through our injuries and physical challenges, without any guidance or real knowledge or support from people who actually study bodies in a therapeutic kind of way. And the analogy between that and a lot of people we come across who, when it comes to their relationships, are doing the same thing. They're just kind of trying to figure it out, but haven't maybe really studied or learned or worked with someone. And so their results are just not that great.
Exactly. I mean, it is kind of amazing to me how many people have relational injuries and they're like, oh, I got it. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh God, I just feel like it hurts my heart thinking about that, because it's a lot to figure that out, especially by yourself.
Completely. Yeah. So I can talk about myself. So if we come back to the body, and I'd love to hear about you, or should I ask you about you? Maybe I should ask you about you. You've run marathons before, right?
I actually only ran one.
Okay. Well, I haven't run any, so
I only got one under my belt.
But you ran a marathon. You've done yoga for 25 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
I think I consider you as a pretty fit woman.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, there was a period of time where you had some issues physically and maybe you tried to figure it out yourself? Is that
totally? Yeah. Because right now, where I'm at right now at 48, and I'm working on the biomechanics of walking and running, which sound like something maybe you figure out around age 1 or 2. But I'm refiguring that out because of some injuries I've had in the last 7 years. I got hurt 7 years ago, and I'm still kind of working on that. But now I'm working with a physical therapist. I've been working with a yoga teacher, or doing lit yoga with Laura Hyman, and she's a yoga teacher and a physical therapist. I still have my own yoga practice. I have ways, but I have guidance now from people. And I really never, I would seek out short-term, a few weeks, get me out of some pain, but not what's really going on here. I diagnose myself all the time.
So let's take me back to that mindset. I want to understand that mindset a little bit, because maybe that'll help the listener with their mindset or the people in their life. So what were you thinking at the time when you were you saying, it's not that bad? Oh, I'll just go to a session and get fixed? Or what was your head at?
It was pretty innocent. The first injury I had running I was 26. I just run my first marathon. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do these forever. I love this. And 3 months later, I totally hurt my knee. I just did something to my knee. I don't know what I fully did. But I diagnosed myself. I was like, oh, it's because I'm in old running shoes. That must be why I got hurt. And I didn't even question it. I didn't even consider that maybe I should have someone look at me or look at how I'm running or ask anyone. I just was like, oh, I'll just swim for a while. I laugh now. Yeah. I'll swim. And that's actually when I really got into yoga, because I could still do yoga. And I was like, oh, yoga is really amazing. So then I was I sort of lost track of doing really long distances and running. And I was spending more and more time doing yoga, but I never really I had a little bit of work done on my knee, just to get me out of pain.
From a chiropractor or body worker?
Yeah, he was a joint chiropractor. He was pretty amazing, actually. And then I just kind of waited it out.
Yeah.
And then I could go back to running, not marathons, but I was still running far.
And didn't you say you also sought some counsel from Runner's World magazine?
I know we were laughing so hard about this. Yeah. Cause I felt really educated because I was like, well, I think in Runner's World magazine, there was definitely some like exercises to do, or, maybe that's where I got the running shoe idea, which I'm sure maybe my shoes were old, but now 20 years after that, and someone is really like, actually your biomechanics, like the way you land and push off your toe and like all this stuff is like, I'm like, that's been there this whole time. I've never addressed from a real specialist how I was moving. And I always thought I could. And then years down the road, like I'd get hurt in yoga and then I'd, get some body work, but like I'd get out of pain, but I would it never even really occurred to me that there was like a structural issue that I could actually do something about that would prevent more injury down the road.
Now, do you think there was also some practitioners that said that and you weren't available to hear it? Or was it that you were just not asking the deeper, you were just sort of taking their word for it when they said, oh, this will help. And then you would say, okay, this helps, or what?
Well, it's funny. I think it's a little bit of both. I would say, I'm sure someone might have said you really should see a physical therapist and look at your biomechanics. That totally could have been said.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I know I sought out pain relief and people helped me with that, which was awesome. And some of my structural issues, like I did rolfing, which is a kind of body work that really works on your structure.
Yeah.
So I was looking at deeper things, and moving better in yoga. My teachers were always helping me to do my yoga postures better. But now that it seems like all these years, what I've done is I've kept peeling back the layers more and more to now I'm at the foundation of like, how do I just actually move through space? Like not doing a yoga posture, not trying to run, like just walking, sitting, bending over to pick something up. Like how does all that, am I actually functioning? Do I have functional movement in all those joints and everything?
Yeah.
And so now I'm just sort of looking at that, and it feels like if I'd done that 20 years ago, I wouldn't be here doing physical therapy right now,
Right.
But I was just looking for, get me back out running as soon as I can, get me back practicing yoga as soon as I can. I had a lot of little injuries, nothing major, but they were all pointing to imbalances that now I really understand and I'm doing something about.
Totally.
But I was just laughing about how like I just kept not really, I could have been asking better questions and looking for more specific kind of guidance.
Yeah. And maybe more sustainable long-term solutions or something.
Yeah. I think I kept thinking, because I had this mindset, you asked about mindset. I had this mindset that like, I'm young, I'm healthy, I'm strong, and this just shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And so I never thought I needed to look at a deeper layer because I had this mindset that like, kind of, I was fine. This isn't a big deal. Shouldn't be much of a problem.
Yeah.
And I can just kind of get through it. Like I had that after pregnancies too. I was like, oh, I'll just bounce right back. I'll recover.
Right.
And then I didn't realize that what an undertaking, pregnancy and birth and
oh my God,
having
totally.
two babies close together was physically,
right.
So I just felt like I was I just was naively and maybe also reinforced by some of the solutions I was seeking, like kind of feeling like this would just be a short-term little thing. And then I'd be back to whatever I was doing.
Mm-hmm. Completely.
I don't know. Is that kind of what you went through, or because you were relating to a lot of my, what feels like
we were laughing. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, my story. And let me say, listener, don't worry, we're coming back around to relationships here at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like Ellen, where I was athletic and then I got injured a lot. And in my 20s, I just didn't even think about any kind of support. I just arrogantly would rest for a couple days or see a chiropractor, see an orthopedic surgeon about my knee, and then I'd move on and just start charging it again hard. And I did have a lot of chiropractor help in my 20s because I just had a pinched nerve that would go down sciatica, down my left leg. And so I had all this shit in my 20s that I would just dabble with chiropractors and that kind of help. And then it was like, should I get surgery or not, doc? But there was never a question like, what do I need to do differently to change my situation here? It was like outside in, like, chiropractor, do this to me. Give me an adjustment. Doctor, tell me if I need surgery. And I was kind of secretly hoping for surgery because I was like, cool, that at least, like, that'll fix it and I don't really have to do anything.
Right.
And then that happened to my shoulder. When I was like 22, I had so many chronic dislocations that I did have shoulder surgery, and the physical therapy following my physical therapy game was like a D. I'd give myself a D for effort. And so I have now, my left shoulder has atrophied so much deep inside there. I'm trying to wake some of those muscles up 40 years, 20 years later. And oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, as you know, my 30s and 40s, it's like throwing my back out, hurting my knee, and running on a chronic knee injury. And then again, just going to body, you've seen me go to a lot of body workers.
Wow.
I've been to a lot of body workers, but no one's saying, Jayson, you're moving. It's how you move.
Yeah.
You need to strengthen your glutes. You need you need to change your running gait permanently. You need to, and at that point the damage was done, but I started to go, And now thanks to, Matt, our physical therapist, and then also Lit Yoga, it's changing the game for me because I'm so motivated now. And I'm seeing results. That's the most important thing, is because I put in a lot of effort, I feel very different.
Yeah. And there is something about, we were noticing how we see people kind of for years, they're just like, oh, that was just a bad relationship, or I wasn't with the right person. And they, years and years of that goes on. And then eventually some people come in and like, okay, I want to learn how to be in a relationship that functions really well and does all these things, right? Like eventually we see those people, and usually they have this story of all the things they've sort of, all the injuries and all the things they've tried to do on their own. And we were just noticing how, like, oh yeah, we're like that. We've been like that in this other area of our life where, you think in 20s and even in our 30s too, like, well, we can just kind of, I don't know, get through it or get by, or it's just temporary. It's temporary. It's not the big deal. And like, it's like, you're not really getting, actually, the question is, what do I need to do so that I don't get injured anymore? Or so I can
get stronger.
How do I get stronger so I don't keep having these things? What do I need to learn? What do I need to do to be more sustainable, in my movement? And I think that's true in relationships. Like, how do we make this a sustainable relationship? Because so often people struggle with that. Like, this is okay. I'm doing this for now. I'm like kind of white knuckling or tolerating this, but I don't know how to make this something good long-term.
If you want to learn how to get your needs met, learn about attachment dynamics, learn how to become a relationship coach, or learn how to work through conflict successfully, come sign up for one of our latest trainings, relationshipschool.com/training. All right. And we rotate these trainings. So I'm not sure what it is right now. Just go to that page. This way you can get me live, ask me a question, and hopefully learn a ton that's going to help you immediately in your relationship life. And the students here at the Relationship School do best and get the best results when they are like we are now with our physical bodies, where they're doing something on a regular basis consistently. And that could be our deeper course along with coaching. It could be having a regular coach weekly holding you accountable. But it's not sort of dabbling, and when you're in pain and you can't figure it out with your partner, or now you have a bad breakup and you got to go heal from a breakup. It's saying, I want to permanently learn how to listen better and communicate better and be able to hold my experience better and just have a more fulfilling mutual partnership. That requires like training.
It does. And growth and development, like learning new capacities. And I feel like with our process with our bodies and our injuries and healing all of that, because I think we are getting into, just actually really healing and changing so that we aren't continually falling back into those patterns, although they're, but with awareness and with regular training, that is changing. It's amazing. Like stuff I never thought I could change with my body, like things I'm like, oh, that's just what my foot does, I'm actually changing that now. And that we see that all the time with relationships, people feeling like, no, I always pick the wrong person, or this is just how it goes. It's like, I can't be true to myself and have the kind of relationship I want, or whatever people believe over time that's true, that really actually isn't true.
Yeah. Yeah. Like if you have a knee injury, I have a friend who has a knee injury and he's like, yeah, I can't, play soccer anymore. I can't do anything I normally did. And he's just now telling himself a story. I can't. And, we want to encourage you to not do that with your relationship life. You can change the patterns you have been through in your whole life. We know the brain's plastic now. Mm-hmm. Through regular repetition and practice, we can change how we're wired. So we're just trying to give you a physical kind of metaphor here and just talk about ourselves like we're our physical arrogance maybe or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you apply yourself, listener, like guys, you can actually get a different result in your relationship. And I think a lot of you that have taken some of our courses here, for example, are seeing, a big change in your life.
Oh yeah. Huge change. And sometimes people after just one or two sessions, like realize something, a belief that has limited them that isn't actually true. Like they really get it, or like, it's amazing how a little bit of insight or applying yourself can go so far. And I mean, again, we've seen that with our injuries, like just getting a little good direction from someone who really studies this and works with people day in and day out on healing their bodies and preventing injuries and moving better. Like that has gone so far.
Yeah.
Like so much further than I thought. Like I could have easily been like, I just can't run without getting injured anymore. I guess I'll stop. And I could, maybe one day I'll choose not to run because it's for whatever reason, but it doesn't seem like that's something I have to do by any means.
Yeah.
And I see that with relationships, people getting in that learning mindset, like, oh, I have something to learn here. Great. I could learn something. Yeah. That would be huge.
Totally.
It would be huge. And it really taking that ownership I think that's what's helped us with our physical stuff that has surfaced more in this last decade. Just getting sort of in the driver's seat. Like, okay.
Totally. Like really taking full responsibility.
Really taking full responsibility.
Yeah.
As awesome as our physical therapist, Matt, is, like, we have to do the stuff, the exercises,
Yeah.
I can't just go see him once a month and expect to be improving if I'm not doing what he's telling me to do.
Totally.
Or at least trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. So the moral of the story, folks, is learn. And then also find out what kind of environment you like to learn in, and get into a group context is really ideal, I think. And then maybe hire a relationship coach is one way. Certainly a therapist if there's trauma work to do. And if you stay at it and make a commitment, you're going to change your patterns over time.
Yeah, it's so cool how it's like if you just show up and with an open mind, with like, I might learn something here. You will definitely take something away that you can apply
to
your life that will actually improve it. There are so many things that tons of even small adjustments in your thinking, behavior, choices, perspective that can make such a huge impact. So there's a lot you can do to upgrade your relationship experience in life.
Totally. Awesome. Ellen, thanks. I love talking with you like this about our bodies and our relationships. So thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right. Your action step is to get honest with yourself about your relational plan. And are you doing a Band-Aid approach, or are you actually trying to go for permanent, long-lasting change? Again, I'm going to recommend regular accountability with a relationship coach. If you need trauma work occasionally, you do that with a therapist. A group context And we have one here called the Relational Mastery Course, where it's 9 months of training to give you a permanent upgrade. If you want to help others and be that physical therapist, which is a relationship coach in this metaphor, to help someone else change their relational patterns, you become a relationship coach here. And we're last call for our enrollment right now. You can go to relationshipschool.com/training to get on a free webinar with me and find out about that. There's lots of resources here. You can hire one of our relationship coaches, relationshipschool.com/get coaching now. And that will take you to a page where you can hire a relationship coach. I think more and more people are getting that you need someone that's focused on relationships, and you need to take courses and apply yourself and practice to create lasting change. Ellen and I are seeing that with Laura's Lit Yoga and the PT that we see, and it's super helpful, okay? Super helpful. All right, folks, we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. Hey, folks, good news. My new book, Getting to Zero, How to Work Through Conflict in Your High-Stakes Relationship, is available for pre-order. And here's what's cool. If y'all support me and you pre-order it, you get some cool stuff. Like I just recorded a 4-part mini video series on how to work through conflict, highlighting some of the chapters in the book. You can also get chapter 1 for free if you want to start digging in before the book comes out October 5th. So go to gettingtozerobook.com, gettingtozerobook.com. And thanks for being a listener and soon to be a reader of my new book. Hey, thanks so much for listening. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Share one of these videos with a friend. We want to help the planet get their act together around relationships. And you are one of them, so thank you.